Before the neon, before the marble lobbies, before Vegas decided every tourist was a walking credit card, there was a simple promise: come have fun, don't spend too much, and leave wanting to come back. Most of the Strip abandoned that promise years ago. Excalibur didn't, and that's exactly why, in a city that keeps ruining itself with greed, this medieval castle is still standing. Excalibur has spent decades being treated like a joke. The medieval castle on the Strip, the bright colors, the family-friendly branding, the budget pricing, everything about it feels like a throwback to a version of Las Vegas that corporate executives have spent years trying to erase. And yet, here we are in 2025, watching Vegas grow more expensive, more corporate, and more hostile to regular tourists by the year, while Excalibur keeps doing exactly what it's always done. That's why it's worth asking a question most people never stop to consider. Is Excalibur the only casino Vegas didn't ruin? To understand why Excalibur still works, you first have to understand how Vegas broke itself. For most of its modern history, Las Vegas ran on a simple but brilliant idea. Casinos would make money on gambling so they could afford to lose money everywhere else. Cheap rooms, free parking, affordable food, low table limits, shows regular people could afford. The goal wasn't to squeeze every dollar out of every guest. It was to keep people happy, relaxed, and willing to stay longer. Excalibur was built squarely inside that philosophy. It opened in the early 1990s as a mass market resort designed for families, casual tourists, and middle-class visitors who wanted fun without intimidation. Then the corporate era arrived. Independent operators disappeared. Mega corporations took over. Accounting replaced intuition. Loss leaders were labeled inefficient. Suddenly, everything had to generate revenue on its own. Parking became paid. Resort fees exploded. Drinks got smaller and more expensive. Gambling minimums rose. And the Strip transformed into a place where guests feel like they're being charged for breathing. That transformation hit almost every major resort. Almost. Excalibur never fully made that leap. Yes, prices have gone up everywhere, including here, but Excalibur resisted the temptation to chase luxury or prestige. It never tried to pretend it was something it wasn't. While neighboring resorts poured billions into redesigns, influencer-friendly aesthetics, and high-end experiences, Excalibur stayed firmly planted in its lane. Affordable rooms, simple dining, a casino floor designed for casual gamblers, clear expectations. That decision, whether intentional or just convenient neglect, ended up protecting it. Walk through Excalibur today and the difference is immediate. It doesn't feel like a place trying to upsell you at every turn. You're not assaulted with luxury branding or subtle reminders that you're supposed to spend more. The casino floor feels approachable. Slot machines aren't intimidating. Table limits are still relatively low compared to much of the Strip. You don't feel out of place if you're gambling modestly. That matters more than Vegas executives realize. When people feel comfortable, they stay longer. When they stay longer, they spend more without resentment. Rooms are another key reason Excalibur still works. They're not flashy, they're not cutting edge, but they're priced realistically. For many travelers, Excalibur is one of the few Strip properties where the room rate doesn't immediately feel insulting. Families can book multiple nights without feeling like they've made a terrible financial decision. Budget travelers don't feel tricked by photos that hide massive hidden fees. Expectations are set properly, and the experience generally meets them. In modern Vegas, that alone creates loyalty. The location helps too. Excalibur sits at the south end of the Strip, connected by walkways to Luxor and Mandalay Bay. It benefits from foot traffic without having to compete directly with the most expensive properties. It's close enough to the action to feel convenient, but far enough away to avoid some of the worst congestion and price inflation. For many visitors, especially first-timers, it becomes a comfortable home base, a place to sleep, gamble a bit, and then explore the rest of the city without pressure. What's often overlooked is how Excalibur fits into the broader economic reality of Vegas right now. Middle-class tourists are quietly pulling back. They're tired of surprise fees, tired of overpriced food, tired of feeling disrespected. Many are choosing cruises, all-inclusive resorts, or regional casinos instead. Excalibur is one of the few strip properties still positioned to catch the people who haven't given up on Vegas entirely, but are one bad trip away from doing so. It acts as a pressure valve for a city that has priced itself into a corner. From MGM's perspective, Excalibur is a quiet asset. It doesn't require massive reinvestment to justify luxury pricing. It doesn't need celebrity chefs or headline-grabbing attractions. Its operating costs are lower, its expectations are lower, and its returns are steady. In an era where billion-dollar resorts struggle to fill rooms mid-week, a consistently occupied budget property becomes incredibly valuable. Excalibur doesn't need to dominate headlines, it just needs to stay full. There's also something psychological happening that Vegas underestimated. Nostalgia has power. Many visitors who stay at Excalibur today either stayed there years ago or grew up visiting it. It reminds them of a time when Vegas felt fun instead of stressful, when vacations didn't require spreadsheets, when gambling felt playful instead of predatory. Excalibur unintentionally became a symbol of that era, not because it tried to preserve it, but because it never fully abandoned it. Critics will point out the obvious flaws. The theming feels dated, some areas look tired, it's not trendy, it won't impress Instagram influencers. And that's exactly the point. Excalibur isn't chasing trends that burn out in 2 years. It's serving a demographic that still exists but has been increasingly ignored. Regular people, families, casual gamblers, tourists who want value, not validation. That's why Excalibur feels almost rebellious in modern Vegas. In a city obsessed with extracting maximum revenue per guest, it still operates on volume and accessibility. In a strip filled with places that feel like financial traps, it feels honest. You know what you're getting, you know what you're paying, and you don't feel punished for not being rich. Excalibur isn't the best casino in Las Vegas, it's not the most beautiful, it's not the most exciting, but it may be one of the most important because it proves something Vegas desperately needs to remember. Fun doesn't have to be exclusive, and profit doesn't have to come from squeezing people until they leave. Vegas didn't ruin Excalibur because Excalibur never let Vegas forget what it was built on. And as long as the Strip keeps pushing regular tourists away, that old castle may end up being one of the last places standing where Vegas still feels like Vegas.